Even though ChatGPT is primarily what we call a pre-revenue tech startup or a pre-revenue tech company, they've still been able to attract billions in investment from established tech companies like Microsoft. Now, here's an article from the Wall Street Journal, and we see that Microsoft on Monday said it's going to make a multi-year, multi-billion-dollar investment in OpenAI, and it's going to bolster its relationship with the startup behind the viral ChatGPT chatbot.
Imagine the wildest idea that you've ever had, and you're curious about how it might scale to something that's 100, 1,000 times bigger. This is a place where you can get to do that.
OpenAI is building the general technologies that can extend the reach of the human brain and our creativity. DALL-E really brings high-quality creations to anyone. Our coding models serve as a coding assistant in tools like Copilot, and GPT-3 is a system that has a robust understanding of language.
Our mission is to create highly capable AI technologies and deploy them to the world for the benefit of humanity in a way that is safe and beneficial for all.
I think that AI will be a technological revolution on the scale of the agricultural, the industrial, the computer revolution, and we have no goal other than the creation and deployment of safe, beneficial AGI. We have a nonprofit that governs everything and the ability to block deployments that would make commercial sense, but we think create safety issues, and our whole structure's around that.
I really like the way OpenAI are trying to build AGI, namely by harnessing large amounts of real-world data to train powerful and supervised models, and then steering those with human alignment to create agents that can actually do useful things.
OpenAI is truly unique in that sense of being able to work in a very nimble fashion, at the same time having all the resources in the world to solve the problems. That mentality is what made it really possible to ship DALL-E.
At OpenAI, we felt very strongly that engineering is an integral part to the success of any progress in AI, and that research needs to be infused with engineering, and engineering needs to be infused with research.
In my first month, I did kind of an outrageously large scaling project. They were like, yeah, we have a piece of software that runs on one computer. Can you make it run on 3,000? And you have 3 weeks. So that was wild.
I don't think you need a specific machine learning background to come here to OpenAI and succeed. I had just taken one class in college. People are very willing to help and teach. And I worked on Copilot, one of the more successful products that are based on ML that people are using day to day.
People are really both friendly and approachable and ambitious. There's this shared sense of we're going to do something very, very big together. We've set our sights high, and also we're collaborating together to make that happen.
The number of times I've been sitting at lunch and you overhear the other team talking about something and you learn a trick from that, just kind of going on the signal of what is everyone else excited about is already a really strong sense of what do I need to pay attention to, what do I need to learn.
For the systems that we're developing to have a big impact, we have to figure out how to make them accessible and how to do so safely. So it's very important to work with a set of people that have diverse experiences, because we're really entering an era where we have to innovate in almost every aspect of society.
I truly believe that the technology we are creating is going to have a really profound impact. Can we create an environment where we have AI and technology broadly amplifying human wisdom, giving humans another resource for connecting with what's actually important to them, what actually gives them meaning? And we need a lot of different kinds of people to make that happen.
Right? And what it's looking to do is kind of expand its use of artificial intelligence in the Microsoft product line. Now, they didn't discuss the terms. However, the rumor is that it's going to be a $10 billion investment. However, Microsoft has declined to comment on the final number. Now, we want to understand that OpenAI was in talks earlier this month to sell existing shares in a tender offer that will put a valuation of the company at around $29 billion. And again, we're going to repeat. This is primarily a pre-revenue startup or a pre-revenue tech company. And what I mean by that is that they're not generating revenue, and that's not how we're creating the multiple of the value. So normally when you're looking at a company, you say, how much is the revenues in the companies? We create a multiple of that, and that's how we create our valuation. Now, we also can look at inventory. We also can look at any kind of physical assets they may have. But in a lot of scenarios, what we're looking at is cash flows. When we're looking at OpenAI, right, or this Chat GPT, if that's going to be a division of OpenAI, what we're not seeing is a lot of cash flow revenues. However, based on the IP and what people believe the future value of this particular situation is going to be, they're able to put a 29 billion valuation on the tender offer they were going to do earlier this month, right? Microsoft plans to incorporate AI tools in all its products and make them available as platforms for other businesses to build on, their chief executive said at the World Economic Forum, an annual event in Davos, Switzerland. That event has been going on for years. A lot of people are not really hip to it. I was speaking to somebody that took my program, and we were talking about how a lot of people miss out on this event when you have the heavy hitters come in and they kind of explain to you what the direction of the world's going to be, right? I'm on their email list. Now, here's the takeaways I want you to kind of understand about this particular deal, right? A lot of times we get these narratives that a company that doesn't drive a lot of revenue doesn't have value. You know, a company that's in its early startup stage that's not driving certain amount of revenues has no value. And that's often communicated to working class and poor people who may not necessarily understand how business works. And it's often communicated by gatekeepers or people that desire to be gatekeepers, right? This company is getting what is reported a $10 billion, right, investment. And I want to ask you, do you think the $10 billion is a multiple of revenue? And looking at this situation, right, let's say we were going to value this. We take their $29 billion valuation, right? And then we determine that, well, we're going to create that based on revenue. What would the revenue need to be if we put it 3 times on it to get to $29 billion? And this is why I want people to really kind of understand this space. What you really have here is old capital, and capital in the form of finance, right? So old finance capital coming out of Microsoft that's going into a new deal. And then eventually that new deal, because it's in a growth stage, will attract more consumption dollars to build out more capital. Because currently this particular OpenAI was supposed to be a not-for-profit. What they're saying now is that they're going to go to a profit slash, I don't know, you call it open source deal, where they're going to cap profits at a certain level. And then everything past that, I think it's going to be a not-for-profit statement. But they are going to a profit model, right? And I think that's why they're attracting the investment, because Microsoft wants to do is they probably want to license this out, right? And then they're going to probably take a percentage of the deal, because if they get a deal with Microsoft, what it immediately do is give them coverage across the whole Microsoft suite. So then what OpenAI won't have to do is do a lot of marketing, right? Because they already have built-in clientele through Microsoft. The same thing if they go to Tesla. They have built-in clientele through Tesla. So then what they can do is just license this out to these companies. Everybody takes a revenue split from the licensing, right? And then what you now have is a multi-billion-dollar company. But it's going to take money to develop this artificial intelligence, and it's going to take money to maintain it. It's going to take money to continue to make sure you support it. So what we're seeing now is people are getting at the initial stage, even though, like we said before, there's very little revenue. And this is why you can't believe what everybody tells you about business just because they passed the test. Because many of these people, like I said, they've been programmed to think what they think, but for some reason stories like this passed them by. You know, I had a guy in here saying that you can't get money for free. That's false, because early in the pandemic, we had companies like Wayfair, we had companies like DraftKings selling zero coupon convertible bonds. And if you understand what a zero coupon convertible bond is, what you mean is that they pretty much got money for free. And all the risk is on the side of the person that's buying the bond. There's very little risk on the company that's issuing it out. Therefore, if you can issue out a zero coupon convertible bond, you go for it. Why? Because essentially that's free money. And this is why I'm really passionate about us understanding, because we don't necessarily understand what creates wealth inequality, because we don't necessarily understand the mechanisms that are used in our society to create wealth. It's way deeper than your money got taken from you in slavery. And even though that's part of the picture, it's way deeper than that, because currently we're in 2023. So the mechanisms that they're using are a little bit deeper than what they may have used 400 years ago. But because many people are not taking the time to kind of understand how they use current wealth to create more wealth, right? Because they understand people that don't have the wealth, what kind of behavior they're going to engage in. They just position themselves and they take old wealth to create new wealth and growth projects. Hope you got some value from it. David W. Williams, talk to you later.